Alright guys, today we're going to be working on an American Standard water heater. If you bought one of these things, I'm sorry. This one we installed about 2 years ago. This water heater came out around the time that there were shortages. It was kind of a COVID thing. It sort of popped up. And I had worked on one and then just refused to sell any of them. But other people at our company were selling them. And so here we are. So it turned out that the limit switch was actually tripped. So you saw that little red button right there. I had to push that button in. If that limit is tripped, it's not going to operate. But when that limit trips, you have to figure out what is tripping the limit. Now, while we're at it, we do have to stick to a diagnostic process. I am going to confirm that there is gas here. And so I just loosened this union up right on top, picked the thing up. I can hear the gas going. And like I said, diagnostic process, we have to make sure that the fuel is making it to the burner. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this pilot tube off of there. Pretty simple. I got a adjustable wrench. A lot of people are purists and they like to use the right size wrench. I just use an adjustable on there. It works just fine. I checked it. I pushed the button down. I could hear the gas coming out. Next, I pulled the screws off of here. I've actually never pulled this limit off, but I just wanted to take a look. I thought that it was going to be an opening into the burner to give me a better idea of what it looked like instead of taking the whole burner apart and then looking at it. But it turned out it was just the hole where you look through that little glass. That little glass is really not big enough on this unit. Again, I don't like these water heaters. I never liked these water heaters. And, it does feel good to be right about it. But anyway, there's 6 screws. I got to take the whole burner out. Now, the burner doesn't actually sit inside of one of those little hooks. It kind of like pops into this thing. So you kind of give it a little bit to the right and pop it out to get it out of there. And I can see right away, you'll see when I pull this thing out and the camera kind of pans out to a weird angle. But you see all that stuff on top of that burner tray? I'm going to come back to it and get a better angle in a second. You see all that stuff on top of there? That's rust, okay? Now, this unit is 2 years old, and a 2-year-old unit should not be looking rusty like this. So I know that there's a combustion issue going on. I was 80% sure before. Now I'm 100% sure. And the reason that we know that is because basically when gas combusts, there is water in the flue gas, and in a standard system like this that's not high efficiency, that water just stays steam all the way out the chimney. But in this case, it didn't even make it out of the water heater before it was dripping back down. So I'm going to take this flue pipe off, and you can use an impact wrench. I just used a 1/4 inch nut driver to pull it off. I'm going to need an impact to put it back, but you can see there's no rust inside of the vent here and a ton of rust inside of this baffle. Now, I had to pull a piece out of here. I didn't include that in the video, but there is another piece that pulls out. It'll just come right out, any water heater that you have. So I got a shop vac and I got a compressor, and I'm going to get ready to clean the air openings. So in order to have combustion, we need air, fuel, and spark. And so if the air openings are blocked, it will basically cause poor combustion. Poor combustion causes bad venting. Bad venting causes overheating inside of the burner chamber, which would cause a limit to trip. And that's pretty much where we're at with that. So you see I got the compressor. I'm going underneath here. You see where the air openings actually are underneath the inside of the unit right there. Now, I noticed when I was working on this that there was insulation inside of the jacket. And if you look at it, you can see it on both sides. These air openings, they go all around the bottom of the water heater. And honestly, I think that this is just a terrible design. There's really nothing that I like about this water heater. I don't know if I could stress that enough. I think these American Standard water heaters are terrible. I think they were kind of an impromptu. They were just trying to fill a gap in the market, and a lot of people got really screwed with these. So I moved that insulation up. I used a piece of drive, which is like, sheet metal for HVAC stuff, and you could just use something long and stick it in there and pick that insulation up. And I cleaned off the top of this burner, and I just wanted to check to make sure that I had the igniter working. So you could see that little flick. Get a little bit closer on it. You see the little flick. So we know that it's arcing. We know that it's working. I just do that because I don't want to go and put the burner back in and then find out later that it wasn't working. And so I'm actually going to take this off just because when you have a bad burn, you get a lot of buildup of soot and nasty stuff. And I can see that the thermocouple and the pilot assembly's got this soot on it. I'm not going to clean it like crazy. The idea with a thermocouple is it's like a bimetal. If you scratch it too much, you'll actually screw it up. You want the molecules to stay intertwined, so to speak. I don't know if that was the best explanation, but I'm really not a scientist. I'm a plumber, so I'm just trying to help you out. So I'm using a $2 bill. I'm just trying to get the loose stuff off, and I cleaned the metal on the pilot where the igniter actually flicks off of. So, that's just a good little service tip. I got this thing back on there, and now I'm ready to put the flue back, and the guy who put this in, I guess, didn't make it long enough. It's strange that it wasn't really showing signs of not being long enough in the first place, but it's definitely not long enough. I guarantee you I didn't make the water heater shorter. So I took the piece off of there. I cut it a little bit. Maybe this clip is a little bit long. Maybe it's kind of like a vanity shot that I got going on. I just want to show you how cool I am with my tin snips. And I really have to get some new ones because I leave some really sharp edges. If you don't have a good pair of tin snips, you're going to leave sharp edges and you're just going to have a hard time. But, I'm really bad about replacing my tools. I'm not very good about investing in myself. It's just one of those things. I got a family, and usually I just spend all my money on them, and I don't think about myself. Anyway. I didn't get too cute with it. I just went ahead and I put a little extension on top of there. We just had to get the flue back. This isn't totally necessary for you guys in your diagnostic phase. I just put it in the video because it's what I did. And, here we are. We're lighting the pilot again. I really can't hear this one. I feel like the gas pressure to the pilot tube is kind of low on these. But, what do I know? Maybe my hearing's just going bad. But usually I can actually hear the gas going as I'm lighting the pilot. So I'm just going to do it until I feel like it probably would have lit by now. And then I just turn it on, and I turn it to the temperature, and lo and behold, we have flame. So if this helped, leave a like, comment, follow the page. Thanks, guys. See you on the next one.